Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Same Crap, Different Day, or Growing Up Alien. So, I received some intel from Semjase this week. She was eager to share some information that we already know, so it isn't fine. I'll share that in a bit. Some weird stuff happening with the channel, like in a good way, I suppose, which still seems so bizarre. So I'll share that with you as well. But the main information really has to do with the psyops and all of the moles and like shavings might have been up the barn shavings, hay and everything else. But the moles, the counterintelligence, well, we don't really care about the silliness or the Monty Python type outright baloney throwers. That who cares about them? But it's really the more deep state crafted and delivered intel that we're concerned with. And that's what Semjase is going to talk about. But first, I want to bring up, so I can read it, some information from one of our friends and part of the team. And you're familiar with Nathan Sizzik. We have two Nathans, but this is Nathan Sizzik. So I was like, and he wrote a really nice piece that I want to share. And I asked him, I said, "Hey, Nate, can I share this?" He said, "Yeah, sure." And of course, use his name. So he's going to be coming forward. I think actually this week we're planning a video, but he's going to have his own project that he's throwing up there. So Nathan's claim to fame is that he's been in the programs for decades, right? Like many of us, and he's, you could say, tasted all of the flavors of their unique sauce that they hand out. So he's been MK Ultra, he's been MyLab, he's been the Secret Space Program, he's had the Love Bite, he's had everything. And when you have that kind of experience and the ability to step away from it and to analyze it, that I think is invaluable. So we're looking forward to Nathan to come forward. Like I said, my only experiences was MyLab. That's now in the dust, so I didn't really, have anything to add or contribute in that arena. But yeah, definitely looking forward to Nathan coming forward and sharing his wisdom and experience. So I want to read what he has to say here, and here we go. Many of the good people of the disclosure community are pondering the reason why the elites have allowed a portion of the Epstein files to be released without being fully redacted with black lines like most of us, including myself, expected. So far, what we have seen is beyond disgusting and very damning, and some very powerful and influential people of both political parties and many nations of origin. This leaves us with the burning question. Why would they do this, and why are they exposing their obvious control over state and federal law enforcement? After all, none of the criminals mentioned in the files are being investigated or prosecuted. And I've always said that's not going to happen because you can't prosecute somebody when you have no evidence. You have to have actual hard evidence. So obviously the whole Epstein files thing is a psyop. Everybody, I mean, if you don't know that, then yeah. Anyway, so not only that, but much of this information was taken from victim testimony dating back many years prior to Epstein's initial arrest and his eventual death, whatever, proving a long-standing federal and international cover-up by the FBI, CIA, local law enforcement agencies, and the law enforcement arm of multiple nations. They could have stonewalled this forever. I'm actually surprised they didn't. So that's key, right? Why are they throwing this at us? Why are they playing this psyop? Just like the Trump ET disclosure psyop. Why are they throwing that around or mentioning it, whispering it, whatever? So they could have stonewalled this forever, leaving voters to blame Trump for another administrative failure. And most curious of all, why would Trump agree in the beginning to release the files when his involvement with Epstein spans longer and deeper than even Bill Clinton? To understand why, one must understand the ancient occult principle of the transference of karma as practiced by the satanic world elites. Well, which we all know that's for sure. That's there. And again, Nathan's experienced that actually. He knows about these, and he's talked about this on many interviews, and it's worth watching those because he's been involved in the temples. They believe that if the victim or victims are warned in advance by the perpetrator that the burden of karma shifts if the victim or victims do nothing in their defense, making the violation consensual by default. And we've always said that over and over again. If you don't resist, you're consenting. And they pick the low-hanging fruit. So that's a personal choice. And I've seen people who didn't resist and simply played the victim, and they've just been, thrown under the bus, so to speak. And they're also dangerous because they're then used as um, operatives and puppets. And again, these aren't bad people. It's just they become shells. There's nothing left. So it's very sad to see. They can't tell the difference between reality anymore. So anyway, the elites have been doing this for at least a century or longer through books, movies, music, think tank documents, and by direct admission. What you are witnessing is a global satanic ritual designed to transfer negative karma from the predator parasite class to the very people that they victimized on a global scale. The second reason for the release involves a long-term program of social engineering through social conditioning. Since 2016 and the emergence of Donald Trump on the political stage, the people of the world have had their eyes opened. They have seen what many have called conspiracy theories validated, yet the criminals involved have suffered no consequences. In every case, the system fails, and the criminals who have infected every position of authority protect their own like it's one big club or criminal cabal. Because it is. um, in order to understand their motives, you have to first determine the effect on society and then walk it back to deconstruct the motivation behind it. The people of the world have become fatigued and overwhelmed. And I think that's on purpose, actually. That's all the can kicks and all that stuff. It's all meant to do that, just to wear you down. Their lives have become difficult and hopeless. And again, I also believe that's all part of the plan. This is all very carefully orchestrated, in my opinion. Their health is declining, their cost of living has dramatically increased, and the hope of a political solution has rapidly faded from their minds. This is not only about transferring karma, it's about conditioning the public to accept how the world really works without ever having to fix it. And I think that's just that right there. That is it. That is cracking it. That is exactly what they're doing. The CIA, through QAnon, called this period in our history the Great Awakening, a time when humanity finally met its masters without the mask. Absolutely. That's what you're seeing revealed. So a lot of podcasters are trying to whitewash. They're trying to cherry pick all of this intel that they were being given here in these psyops. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Nate just nailed it right there. It was never about justice for the human race, but it was about the engineering of consent. Consent through perpetual confusion and trauma fatigue. The most frightening question from here is how much further are we going to slip? Yeah, for sure. Let me get rid of this. That pretty much echoed what Semjase was throwing out as warnings, but exactly. You can cherry pick information and spin doctor it into being this is disclosure, this is really happening, but is it? I mean, yeah, it's going to roll out, but by who and for what? So I just made some quick notes from the conversation that I had with Semjase, and like I said, it completely vindicates that wonderful piece, the little essay there from Nate. And so she says, right now we are in a very heated propaganda battle, and that's super important. Is not just to be like, oh look, the news said this. Oh look, Trump did this, or oh, is there something behind what just happened? Yes, there is something behind what just happened, but it isn't the good guys. It's never the good guys. Not if you're seeing it in the media. And I think you have to kind of put all the pieces together. The cabal is still in power. We know that for sure, right? Has your daily life changed? No, right? Are people still being attacked? Yes, right. I think Jean-Charles Mayen just mentioned he went to Greenland and he saw an ark there and a spaceship, right? What do you want to call it? And there were these operatives there that were either shape-shifted reptilians or some kind of a reptilian hybrid. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, what was that? Is that real or not? I don't know. I can't vindicate any of this stuff. And that's part of the problem. And that's on purpose. The fact that we can't vindicate anything, that it's all hearsay, that it's all testimony, that it's all, you know, dreams and strange astral experiences, and that's what they give us. So that's all part of the plan, in my opinion, to fuck everybody up and get you not wondering what's up or down or real or fake or what day it is, and that's their plan. So the propaganda is just everywhere right now. It's like mosquitoes in the summer. Right? So what she showed me was she says it's kind of like she gave me an analogy, and she said, it's like you're carrying a tray of water and you're trying to balance it. You have like, you're gonna maybe you're baking something and you need to do it in a water bath. So you're carrying instead of filling the water bath in the stove, you're carrying the water. It's a shallow tray, and you're like, whoop. That's what it's like for them trying to the good guys, the Alliance Federation, trying to yeah. She says this right now. And I kind of told her, and in many ways, it probably has been for a long time. It's a spin doctor war. It's all smoke and mirrors. You're in a fun house, that kind of thing. So they're the bad guys. So disclosure is a CIA operation, right? And they're hijacking every message or every move the resistance is throwing at us. So it looked like the resistance is coming and telling you something, but it's not. It's the exact same message that the resistance is throwing out there, but it's being delivered by the Sith. There you go. So then you have to ask, all right, pretty much all the information I'm receiving live, right? Not necessarily what you're receiving personally. That's up to you to decide and to discriminate, right? If you enter this war with any kind of weakness, if you're not fixing any kind of personality disorders that you're dealing with, if you're not either crushing or pushing aside or removing any kind of pain and trauma that you've experienced here, then your discernment isn't going to be where it needs to be. And that puts you and everybody else in extreme danger. I can't say that enough. So if you are operating from a place of weakness, of trauma, of fear, of neediness, you will be hijacked very quickly by the Sith, and they will use you as an operative because you're low-hanging fruit. So that's really a question for each person to answer. Am I going to grab some balls and suck it up and stand in my power? Or am I going to crawl around in the gutter being looking for a pity party victim? Like, then you know who you're going to attract, and no one can save you. Right? That's a personal choice. So anyway, the moles are, a pestilence at this point, right? So, deception, counterintelligence, they're everywhere. And they're just in the media. They're everywhere in the media, right? So you always have to ask yourself, anyone who's delivering information who's not being taken down, when you're in a political arena, right? So those people who are standing forward as, like, say, congressmen and think congresswomen in there, this is some of the stuff I have extreme suspicion with. I don't listen to them one bit. I mean, if I listen to them, I'm like, this is bullshit. There is no one in the government that's stepping forward. And there's one lady that steps forward, and she always has a smirk, kind of like, I don't know what that actually means, but the government is not going to step forward and give you ET information. And I know they're stepping forward right now and pretending that they are, but that's bullshit. So anyway, this is what Semjase's been talking about. She says, whatever operation the resistance puts forward, the Cabal mimics it, hijacks, and twists it. So keep that in mind. There's a massive mimic copy impersonation campaign right now. That's another thing to keep in mind. So they will be impersonating or mimicking resistance or benevolent contact, right? They'll always give some kind of weird twist to it, though, so you'll know it's a bit off. So they're mimicking the flyovers, they're mimicking messages, all this kind of everything, anything you can imagine, everything and anything the bad guys, the Sith, they're doing. Okay, so it's worth keeping that in mind. She says the contact that the Sith are bringing forward will be almost indistinguishable from legit. So heads up on that shit. They're also doing dream interference. So you'll be getting dreams or visions and it isn't from who you think it is. So you'll know. Like I can tell right away when it's them. I was hanging out. I think I was actually doing a podcast. Actually, I was doing. I believe it was doing a podcast with Ika, and um, yeah, we were talking, having a telepathic conversation. I was telling what he was saying, and then all of a sudden I feel them come in. So you'll know when it's them. But again, dream interference, you name it, it's the bad guys are coming in. So she says it's just super important right now that the ground crew needs to be able to decipher and cut through and dismantle whatever is disseminated to you, certainly in any of the mainstream media formats. She says, as always, right? Think, use common sense energy, sense the vibe, sense the personality, and build constructive analytical threads. You need to be Sherlock Holmes, right? So it's super important, she says, right now that you do that, which we've been saying forever anyway. So if it talks like a cult, sounds like a cult, it's a cult. There you go. I mean, that's. So she says that you are operatives, not a congregation. So we can't stress this enough. Stop following people. Stop listening to people. Stop giving away your power. And she says, you're an operative in a war. You're not a member of a congregation. You're not useful when you're following some weirdo, right? Anyone. I don't care how nice they are. It doesn't matter, right? So moving forward with a few other things that came up, Laura Trump was talking about, I guess she was on, they're always on these different podcasts. Any of those podcasts are red flag podcasts, obviously, right? And she says that, so she's married to Trump's son, and she says that President Trump is going to be talking about supposedly the ETs and that they have all this stuff. And, oh, what is all that about? Oh, we're the same story, right? So he's probably going to step forward if he does and says, we're not alone. Whatever. That's likely what they're going to do. How many times have we heard that, So let's just say President Trump steps forward and says that there's life off planet, that there's the universe is vast and there's other people out there, beings, whatever, and ETs are real and the ships people see are real and it's ETs are real. Whatever. That's not a big deal. What does that mean? That's nothing. Everybody knows that. Your average person is like, yeah, derp. They don't give a shit. Who cares? It's complete bullshit. I don't understand why people are so excited. It's another Epstein files. Why is everybody excited about that? So the government steps forward and says there's ETs and walks away. That's it's like the same thing, right? So are there reptilians, reptilian hybrids under Greenland? Okay. And what do we do? What does that mean? This is all we ever get. Is like, oh, there's a spaceship there. Oh, ETs are real. Oh, this, oh, that, and nothing comes of it. So obviously your public, just like the rest of us, is going to be like, who cares? I don't want Trump coming forward and telling me there's ETs. I want the rollout of shit. And I don't want Elon Musk's idiotic robotic creations and stupid spaceships that run on dinosaur juice that are complete jokes. I want the real shit that we have. I want the electrogravitic propulsion. I want the exotic tech. That's what I want to see rolled out. Not some nonsense. But that's what you're going to get is a bunch of bullshit, bunch of nonsense. And it's possible that that would be part of the blue beam thing, right? So, hey, the president comes out and says there's life on other planets. We've probably not contact. We don't know who they are. We don't know what they have. They'll probably say stuff like that. And then they could use that as part of the blue beam. We need to come together, right? Everybody on the street will be like, oh, yeah, we need to come together. Let's all kumbaya by the fire. And this is what Nathan was showing, right? The consent. You're going to consent to come together under a new world order. That's what they're going to do. So anyway, how do we stop that? I don't know. Because I don't actually without, yeah. Anyway, so it's all talk. It's all nonsense until it isn't. So that's where we stand. Anyway, I want to just show you something weird. And say share screen. So this is my and you can pull this up. Obviously, it's not I'm not hiding. No one's hiding anything. This doesn't make any sense to me. So this is the growing up alien YouTube. And if we come down to that weird experience I had with those three men who came from Mesa, that's got 88,000 views. So my men who came from Mesa video has 88,000 views. What the hell is that? Most of my videos, I mean, the most we've ever had was maybe 11 to 12,000 views, and that was with Will, one of the ones with Will. Most of my videos, as you can see, get about 1 to 2,000 views. And Jesse's adding his 2 cents worth. I have this one here that's got like 25,000 views. I have one that's, I think it's got 33, oh, 40. So this is really weird. The first time it happened, and it came out of the blue. I did a UAP video showing some of the TR3B footage with two other craft that I don't know what they are, unidentified craft. So it was a video I had with three craft and the TR3B being very clear in the video. So that one got 43,000 views, which was like, what the hell is that? That made no sense. So that was the first time it happened. And then after that video, whoops, my God, with the craft, I met with those guys. The video I did on them got 88,000 views. So I'm gaining subscribers. We're a couple of, a few days away from 40,000 subscribers. When I had no subscribers for 8 or 9 months. I don't know what the hell this is or who's behind it. I don't think it's the bad guys because what, I'm exposing all their plans. So I don't think it's them. I'm guessing that it's the guy. So I think that rogue faction, and I love militias. I love people who break away from any kind of mainstream thing. The renegades, the rogues, that's my peeps. So I suspect what they're doing here. This is my guess. Is this rogue faction is hijacking and gaining control of some of the social media. So they're able to hack in. I suspect they're hacking, and it's not in a large, massive major thing. What they're doing here is showing the cabal that they can hack YouTube. That's my guess. And they've hacked my channel. And they've done this. So there's again, they're making their presence known, and these are the good guys. These are the rock stars that, in my opinion, they're not pussyfooting around like some of these other alliances. They're actually getting in there and fucking around, and they're finding out. So it looks like they're hacking, which I'm proud of them. Good for them. Huzzah. Good job. We need to bring in the ships and hack the rest of this shit. That's my opinion. Get in here with the major motherships. Fuck them over. We don't care about the assholes. Look, my father always said this, and I agree with that. Everybody at some point in your life, you have the capacity and the ability to, wake the fuck up. So if you don't do that, it was there, the opportunity was there, and you said no to it. So guess what? Now you're going to be handed your ass. We've all been handed our ass our entire life. Right? That's like, I don't have pity parties for people who are, whatever, as good natural selection, right? Natural selection. We have to weed them out. That's my opinion. So is what it is. But that's pretty much it, really, where we stand right now. Let's see where this little chess game goes. But clap for the boys and the ladies upstairs who were doing some major like fuck you to the YouTube and all the other shit operators that are out there. So yes. Anyway, as always, see you upstairs.